I'm Timotab, and today I'm going to solve Diamond Adjacent by James Sinclair. This puzzle appears in Artisanal Sudoku, volume 178. James very kindly sent me this a little early so that I can get it recorded for you to be published on the same day that that volume is published. So I hope you enjoy it. Let us have a look at the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we're going to place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every box. German whispers. Along green lines, digits differ from their neighbours by at least 5. So if that were a 3, this would have to be an 8 or a 9 in order to be at least 5 away from it. Quadruple circles. A digit inside a white circle must appear in one of the 4 cells surrounding that circle. So one of those 4 digits is going to be an 8. And digits in cells separated by a black dot have a 1 to 2 ratio. So if that were a 2, this would be a 1 or a 4 in order to be at least, in order for one to be double the other. There we go. All right, that is all the rules. I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. All right, so these German whispers, let's have some secrets of German whispers. First of all, I can't put a 5 on a German whisper because if I have a 5 on there, then the next digit has to be either 0 or less or 10 or more, which aren't valid Sudoku digits. Then I have to alternate between high and low, and that's above 5 and below 5, because if I try putting 2 low digits next to each other, for example, then the maximum difference between those digits is 3, and I need a minimum difference of 5, and the same would happen if I put 2 high digits next to each other. Okay. And then the third thing is that 6 and 4 are actually difficult to place. For example, I could put a 6 here because the only digit that can go next to a 6 is a 1. So that would allow me to put a 1 there. But I can't put a 6 here, for example, because both of these would have to be a 1. And then the same applies with 4 only being able to go next to a 9. Okay. So, all right, black dots. I think I've seen something. All right, black dots. On one side of the black dot, there will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on the other side of the black dot will be 2, 4, 6, and 8. So there's always one digit from 1, 2, 3, and 4, and there's always an even digit on the other side. Now, that is interesting. Only 2 of those digits that are available to go on a black dot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8, are high digits. And we've got an interaction between the black dot and the German whisper on all of these. Now, can I have this digit being a high digit? And the answer to that is no. 6 and 8 are the only high digits that can go on there. Well, we know that the 8 is up here somewhere, so the 8 can't go there. And I can't put a 6 on that cell because those would both have to be 1s. So this must be from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that makes that low, and actually it's clearly not 4 because these would both have to be 9s. But I am going to just colour that. I'm going to colour my low digits blue and my high digits orange. Okay, and we have the same situation here. This can't be 8 because of the 8 clue here, and it can't be 6 because those would both be 1s, and it can't be 4 because those would both be 9s. So that's from 1, 2, and 3. Low there, high there. We'll come back to that probably. well, we will come back to that. We just want to look at here because this one has an 8 here, so that's not 8, and it's not 6 because they see each other, so that's low. Can't be 4. So those two are low. That is also low. And then those are high. And in this one, we have a different situation. So it can't be 6, but that could be 8. So if it's high, it's 8. And if it is low, it is 1 or 2. It can't be 3 because of here. So that's 8, 1, or 2. Okay. We don't yet know the disposition around here. All right. But if this is low, then this must be low and that makes that a 1-2 pair. So that would force this to be 4, with that being 2. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so let's have a look at this. If this were 8, then this is 4 because that's the only digit that can go on the black dot. If this is from 1 or 2, then this is also from 1 or 2. It will also be low. In fact, what I'll do is color those green and purple. We don't know which of green and purple is high or low, but we do know that once we've discovered it, it'll be consistent. So if this is low and it's 1 or 2, then this also has to be low, and it can't be 4 because those would both have to be 9, and it can't be 3 because 3 is down here. So if this is low, then this is 1 or 2. That gives me a 1-2 pair in this row. So what's this? Well, I can't make this 1 and this 2, which is the only digit that can go with a 1 on a black dot, because the 2 would be here. So this would have to be 2 and this would have to be 4. So in fact, that can't be a 1. So that is 2 or 8. And if that's 2, then this is a 1. And if this is 8, then this is 7 or 9. Okay, but either way, that is a 4. All right. So that I'm actually going to mark as blue. Now, this here, if this is a 1, this is a 2. If it's a 2, it's a 1. And if it's a 3, it's a 6, because we've already used the 4. So that is 1, 2, or 6. And in fact, all of these are 1, 2, and 6. Okay. All right, let's have a look at this column. This is from 1, 2, and 3, because it can't be 4, because both of those would be 9. And in this column, we now have a 1, 2, 3, 6 quadruple, and we know that the 6 is in one of those two, and that means that that can't be 6. And if that can't be 6, that can't be 3. That gives us a 1-2 pair, and first of all I can mark that as a low digit, and now that has to be a 3. This then must be 8 or 9. This must be 7, 8 or 9. It can't be 6 because I can't make both of those ones. And this is 1, 2, or 4. If that's 7, that's a 1, 2 pair. Okay. All right, we've got a similar thing going on in this row. That's from 1, 2, and 3. I now have a 1, 2, 3 triple in the row, making this 6. So that is a high digit. There we go. That makes that 3. 6 and 7 can't go next to 3, so that's an 8, 9 pair. And that is not a 3. That places 3 in one of those two, because we know that there is a 3 on this circle, and it's now not in either of those. This is not 6. That is a 1 or a 2. That's not a 3. So that's a 3. And that is another 8, 9 pair. We can mark that as low. This digit is the same as this digit, because it's the different one from that one. Okay. Now that this is 1 or 2, this can't be 2 and 1 to make the 4. So this has to be 8. So that makes those high. One moment, having a minor computer being silly moment. All right, that becomes low. All right, so that could still be a 3, but we know that this is 8, and that is 7 or 9. And we'll either prove that this is a 3, forcing that to be a 9, or we'll prove that that's a 7, forcing that to not be the 3, is my conjecture, but we will see. This 8 is looking down, making that a 9. That is now 7 or 8, which means that can't be a 4. Okay. 6 is in one of these two. Right, this 8 is looking across, and so one of those two is an 8. And that means that 8 in this box goes here, which makes that 7. That 8 looks up and makes that 9 and that 8. And now the only place for 8 by Sudoku, and the fact that there's the 8 clue, is there. Okay. So 8 by Sudoku is in one of those 3, and by the 8 clue is in one of those 2. All right, we've got 2 more black dots. Actually, before I do that, 8 here. Yeah, these are from 1, 2, and 3. Have I got any other? No. All right. So let us have a look at this black dot here. It can't be 3, 6 because of that 3. So it's from the 1, 2, 4, 8 set, and it can't be with an 8. So that is from 1, 2, and 4, and definitely has a 2 on it. So that is not a 2. This also can't be a 3, 6. So that's from 1, 2, 4, and 8. This one can't be an 8. It's not a 1, 2 pair because of that. So I can remove that. So it's either 2, 4 or 4, 8. So it definitely has a 4 on it. Okay. Okay. Where does 9 go in this row? And it doesn't go there because of this 8, 9 pair. And it can't go here, so it must be in one of those two. But that means that this is not a 9, and as I suspected, we were proved it a 7, and therefore these are not, neither of them are 3. So that is a 1, that is a 2, that is a 3, and low. Oh, these are all low, which is probably useful to note, and it's not a 1, 2 pair. So it's a 2, 4 pair, and this 2 tells us which way round. That's 4, that is 2. This one resolves this 2 and this 1, which resolves this as 2 and 1, and that as a 2, which makes that a 4 and that an 8. This is very nice indeed. That 8 gives me a 9 here and an 8 here, and I've satisfied that 8 clue. I've satisfied the 3 clue. This 8 is looking across, that's not an 8, and that is, and that 8 clue is now satisfied. And I think all of my clues are now done. So now it should just be Sudoku. So let's see where that gets us, because even when we know it's just Sudoku, that can still be quite a challenge sometimes. All right. So 6 in this box is in one of those two. Three is not there. That's a 3. So that makes this 5, 7, and 9. In fact, that's the 5 because of the 7 and 9 in the column. This column needs a 1, a 4, and a 6. That one is not a 4. That one is not a 1. That one is not a 1. Okay, so that's the 1. We have a 4, 6 pair. This row needs a 6, a 1, and a 4. Before we do that, that 2 is looking at that. So neither of those are 1. That's a 1. That's a 6. I'm probably not going to carry on with the colouring because I don't think it's needed anymore. But I needed 4 and 6 over here. So these 3 digits are 4, 9, and 5. And that one's not the 9, that one's not a 4, which means that this digit must be known as a 7. And then these are 2, 5, 9. and that is not a 9. Okay. Two places for 1 in the row. I don't really want to mark that across the boxes. That's not a 4, that's not a 4. 4 is in one of those two. So that means that 4 is here. So that is not 4, and that one is. We have a 5-9 pair. Tidy that up. And let's see. Nine is not here, and it's not here. So 9 is in one of those two, which makes that the 7 and that the 9. So that places 7 into one of those two. Twos. Where are we at with twos? There is a 2 in one of those. We have a 2 right here because of these two in the column and this one in the row, and the fact that that 4 is taking a spot. So that means that 2 is in one of those 3. That 9 is looking across there, so that is not a 9, and that one is. So we need a 4, 5, or 6 to complete this. And that's not a 4, and that is not a 6. So we have a nice little, oh, wrong ones. Nice little chocolate teapot there. All right. So this is 4 or 5 by the column. And that is 7, 5, or 6 in the column. All right, 1 in column 3 must go here. So now 1 is in one of these two cells in box 9. 1 in box 3 is exactly here, making that a 2. That makes that a 1 and that a 2, which makes this 5. That must be 9 and a 2 here. We need 5, 6, and 3 for the row. That is not 6. In this column, we have 5, 6, and 7, which we still need to place. Okay. All right, 3 does not go here by this 3, so 3 goes in one of those two. And then by Sudoku, it goes in one of those two, but not that one. So that is a 3. Where does 8 go in this row? The only place left for it is here. So that means 9 is in one of these two, but not this one. So that's a 9. And now 9 goes up here, and that resolves this 5 and 9. In this bottom row, we need 5, 6, and 7. That has 7 and 5 in the column, so that must be 6. And that is 5 and 7 in the row. This digit here must be a 3. So this is 5, 6, or 7, but it is not 6. So that is also 5 or 7 for the column, making this a 3. And then this digit here is 8. That's 6. Removes the 6 candidate from there. This 3 is looking across, making that 3 and that not a 3. This is 5, 6, or 7. Okay, these 3 digits must be known as 5, 6, or 7. That's the 6. That is a 5, 7 pair, making this a 4. That resolves the 6 and the 4 here. That resolves the 5, which makes that 7. That's 6. That's 4. That's 5. That's 7. 5, 7. Only place for a 4 in the row is here. So that is 6. That's C6 and 7, so that's 5. That's 7. That's C7 and 6, that's 5. That is 6. And then this 7 is looking up for a 5 here and a 7 here. And I've just realized I've got one more digit to go, which is that 6 there. That was a lovely puzzle, and really great break-in with these diamonds and the 8 clues and the black dots to prevent these from being high digits. I really liked how this resolved as well, to force that to be a 4 once you thought through the options. Anyway, if you liked this solve, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see more, and I would love to hear your comments, and I'm sure that James would love to hear them as well. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.